What is up, everybody? You already know the deal. Welcome in to See the Floor podcast. Your boy K Malone.
Ryan Wilson.
Another episode. You ready, brother?
Let's get it.
See the Floor podcast. Your boy K Malone.
Ryan Wilson. We in the building.
Yes, sir. This week's topic is something a little different. How culture affects the NBA, culture in the NBA, whatever you want to call it. Basketball is not just a black man's sport. It's not just a white man's sport. We welcome everybody sport.
Universal.
So one of the things I want to touch on before we kind of get into some like the logistics and things culturally about basketball. One of the things that I love absolutely about basketball is that basketball is one of the few sports that you can literally play with anybody. You can go to any park, any gym, any rec center, and most likely get a pickup game. And hopefully you can get a pickup game with more than just African-American people, more than just Caucasian. You know, that if you live in an area where there's diversity, there's other ethnicities and races there. Just play basketball.
Yeah, we definitely talked about it last season, I think. How, basketball is a sport that brings everybody together, whether it be you playing or fans. Yeah. It's definitely a sport that brings everybody together.
Yeah, and basketball is a global game. I mean, just, for me, getting to experience that in a whole nother country, that there's people that definitely love basketball in the smallest of countries that you wouldn't think love basketball. They have professional leagues, they have players, they have people there that aspire to maybe come to America and play. And they also watch, they stay up, whatever the time difference is, to watch, collegiate and NBA games.
Do you feel like players, athletes are received stronger overseas?
I think it's the same. I think in the States we do have a huge sense of pride in our sports teams, and I would say foreign countries definitely do, because it's a different dynamic in terms of what sports are considered the main sport. In a lot of European countries, soccer is a huge thing.
Right.
But basketball is too. Basketball it's a thing that, they have parks just like we do. They have gyms. I think a lot of people now have realized the benefit of basketball training and other things, and I think kids get an opportunity to do that. Like I said, the team that I was a part of, they had an academy that has, 4th, 5th, and 6th graders and middle schools and high schools that all, when they leave from school, they come to practice and they're trying to get better.
It's definitely a different blueprint over there. Like you said, they have the different age groups all under one roof.
Definitely.
Or one organization, which is crazy.
Yeah, so you kind of like represent your city and area in that aspect. And I mean, you can start to move around, because as you start to display talent, I think other people will notice. Word of mouth, just like it is here. But just the way that kids internationally like train, I think they know what the odds are against them. And I think no matter the talent disparity, you see all of those kids are all going at the same level in terms of they play hard and they're trying to get the most out of the opportunity that they're given.
For sure.
And that's one thing that you don't always see here. And I'm a part of that. I was very privileged, but I figured out my hard work, if I did what I was supposed to, watching you guys and the lessons from my parents, that it would pay off. And it definitely has.
So which layout, if you had to choose one?
Oh, layout here. Just
okay.
For the people that don't know, getting as a basketball player, playing AAU as a kid is fun. You just get to travel and you go places. You get the jerseys, all of that. As you start to move into middle school and high school, it does become serious, because you're trying to make your high school team. You're trying to, make varsity on your high school team. You're trying to get a scholarship. You play on a team maybe that's shoe sponsored, because you do want to play against the other better players in the country that play for a Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour teams. So that layout for me was fun. The camps were fun. Just internationally, I mean, now you have to really, really be the best just to get any exposure at all, to hopefully for an Adidas Euro camp against the other 100 European countries that are, on that side of the continent and globe.
So if American players are such a, I guess, powerhouse, I guess you could say, why not follow the American layout?
In terms of high school, college, NBA?
Yeah.
Because there's different ways to skin a cat.
Okay.
And I think part of it, more of it has to do with college and the business side of college. And I think there are some kids that they've been told that they're a dollar sign and they see themselves as a dollar sign. And hopefully it's about the fact that you love to play and the benefit for it is millions of dollars. But there are some kids that are not equipped to go to college. I think the way college is set up now, you shouldn't really fail in terms of if you choose an elite college, even a really good mid-major college, you have a strength coach, you have academic advisor, you have living, you get a cost of attendance check along with your school being paid for. So anybody wants to hear all this information, they can revisit our previous episode all the way back in season 1,
right,
where we kind of cover all of this. But
we'll definitely link that episode.
Yeah, but to follow up on that, it shouldn't really be a reason to fail. And we talked about on the episode, somebody like Zion Williamson clearly benefited from that stage in college.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why less individuals take the route that they do to go overseas. So now, like we stated, the legit previous episode, Jalen Green, Jonathan Kuminga, Isaiah Todd, Deshaun Nix, that all decided we're going to go to the G League, stay here in America, play against what's deemed as the second best group of players in terms of the G League, connected right under the NBA. And we'll see how that turns out for them and their path going from high school straight to G League to hopefully lottery picks.
This is completely off topic, but the fact that they chose that, is that speaking to their education, their abilities in the classroom, or?
That's one of those things you never know because we're not there. I would hope a lot of these kids that, because a lot of kids that were at prep schools and private schools, whether they're moved there for their sports or not, but I hope they take advantage of hopefully the education they're getting or the higher education they're per se supposed to be getting.
Yeah.
So, and it's just, it's different. It's a cultural thing too. It's, you put players in young men in positions where they're trying to maximize their God-given talent. Yeah. And the same thing goes for international players. They have to find whatever route best suits them because, like I said, there are young international kids that people try to bring to America to give them the opportunity that we have had to see how that plays out for them.
Okay.
So with that being said, culturally in the NBA, do you think that people have a problem that the NBA is predominantly black? Like from a general sense of just your average fan watching basketball, the climate that we're in, everything?
I don't know. I think you're going to have a little bit of both.
Okay.
I think there are some people that can see past the color of the skin and just see pure entertainment, see pure skill, can see the work ethic in a person and appreciate it. And then there are some that just have hate in their heart.
So let's take the people that have a little bit of hate in their heart. Previously, number 45 made his comments about LeBron and other athletes in general. The lady from, whatever news station told LeBron to shut up and dribble. Mentioned that. Someone else decided to come out LeBron. Now another athlete.
Right.
Zoltan. I don't know how to pronounce Zoltan's last name, but everybody knows him as Zoltan. And he felt that LeBron James, as the face of the NBA, should keep his political thoughts out of the, media and his interviews, and that he should just, dribble with your hands instead of your feet like he does.
Him saying that, I feel like it just showed his cards. Like, he just revealed how narrow-minded he is and how simple he thinks. Like, that, as you can see, that didn't faze LeBron one bit.
Do you want to hear my thoughts?
Go ahead.
The specific person that I'm speaking of is all time, very, very notable Major League Soccer player. I don't know where he's originally from. He's not from America. International superstar. has come to America over the past 4 or 5 years and established himself as a big time player. He also has made very outlandish comments before. So to me, it was just another chance for him to see some limelight.
Yeah.
Mind you, like you said, narrow-minded comment. But also I just look at like, I think he's just trying to be relevant. And I wish that things that are truly important that matter, like athletes speaking up and speaking out, should never be undermined.
It shouldn't be.
Because
it was quite offensive.
Very.
But
because for whatever reason, everybody wants to come at the one person that's the face of the NBA, and all y'all are doing is giving him more of a platform. And
right.
So, Bron, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. He definitely had the right one. You gotta respect LeBron for it, because if it was me,
yeah,
them thumbs would have got the going.
Yeah, Twitter fingers turned to trigger face. What Meek Mill said. Yeah,
shots fired.
Yeah,
but yeah, man.
So
he handled it well.
Yeah, and that's part of the territory for any professional athlete, and for the NBA and the NFL. Those are two sports that are predominantly black. The NFL has a good mix of faces. So, do you think there's the next thing I want to kind of pose to you? Do you think there's a lack of diversity in the NBA in terms of should there be, or should any of the other, ethnicities? And it's kind of hard because a lot of people look at some of our international superstars like Giannis. Giannis is of African descent, Nigerian descent, whose family grew up in Greece. So we're talking about an international player, maybe our best player, because he's two-time MVP.
Yeah.
And you look at, a top 10 player in Luka Doncic, but then if you look at the rest of the top 10 players per se, it's pretty much unanimous. There's 9 players that are African-American, or 8, 7, whatever, African-American, and one guy that's African, and then you have one white guy that's European. So is that a thing that, about not having that true diversity?
I mean, I still think there's diversity. I don't know. I guess I never look at it because I'm on this side of the fence.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's just like a white person in the regular work field. They don't think anything of it because they're on that side of the fence.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's tough to say.
And then my next thing is, we'll talk about, you don't really look at it. When we do talk about our white individuals that are in the NBA, a lot of times they're characterized to do one of two things. If you're not a 6'9", 6'10" big guy,
you'll be able to shoot.
Yeah, whatever type of guard, wing, whatever.
You better let that thing go.
Don't leave him. Don't leave that guy. I mean, should they be offended? Is that something that stereotype of?
It is kind of offensive. Well, I won't say kind of. It is offensive. But it's just like, a black quarterback. All he can do is run. He can't throw. So you got to think of it that way. I don't think you should ever put anybody in a box.
Yeah, because there are truly some, guys in the NBA, especially white guys, that they are there for one reason, because they are athletic and they can play.
Yeah.
Like a Pat Connaughton is athletic. Jake Layman, athletic. Like, now, you got guys like Duncan Robinson that are pure shooters. Kyle Korver, pure shooters. But, JJ Redick, but they're also a necessity. There's a need for that anyway.
Right.
So it doesn't matter what color you are.
Right.
So,
and they're also high IQ players.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is another stereotype.
Yeah. So, with the league with it being predominantly black, do you think that people think that the African American counterparts aren't high IQ guys?
Yeah.
That's kind of backwards, because if the better players it's not just for once. It's not because they're just all more athletic. You have to be very good at what you do. But
just because you're skilled doesn't mean you have a high IQ.
True.
It just means you're great at what you do.
Mm.
So, yeah, I feel like that is a stereotype. Low IQ. He's athletic. He can jump.
Now, something
run.
I did want to ask, and it's something that it was kind of brought up to me one day, just talking basketball talk, barbershop talk. When did I don't know if you know the time period. This is something I had to listen to, but in terms of the time period when we started to see that shift of
Color.
because if you saw basketball early Boston Celtics, even though Bill Russell was the kind of the person in the forefront who gets credit for those early Celtics teams, along with Bob Cousy, basketball was a white male sport.
It definitely was.
Created by Dr. James Naismith, a Canadian man in Massachusetts, and brought it to Kansas.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at the film from back then, you can see that it was a different game.
Mm.
So I feel like that alone gives you appreciation for us.
Mm.
But it was a different game. But I really can't pinpoint, an exact year or decade that it transferred or shifted. Because when I was born, when I got into basketball, it had already shifted. So,
yeah. From my understanding, obviously Bill Russell. I can't remember who was the first black player to ever sign a contract, but obviously it just once you let one in, it's going to start to trickle down because you can't keep. And I'm glad people at that time, not everybody was going to jump on board at first, but saw what adding, any men of color could do for the game of basketball.
It's just like Jackie Robinson.
Mm-hmm. And
same thing.
Yeah, and so you start to see just from the 50s, from the 60s to the 70s, till you get to that golden age of the NBA, the mid to late 80s and 90s, where, to me, I think you had a very good mix. It was definitely a little bit more diverse then than it is now.
So you did do your homework, huh?
Oh, I definitely did.
Okay.
I'm a basketball. I'm a junkie.
Okay.
And you could definitely see, just because from one, as you start to see more African American players play at major colleges, it's going to be kind of hard to keep them out of the NBA because now they were in a position where they're playing at the best schools with their other white counterparts and having success. After that, floodgates just kind of open.
Yeah.
So from the Lew Alcindors, now Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to the Hakeem Olajuwons, the Michael Jordans, even coaches like Bob Knight having black players at University of Indiana. So, I mean, all of those things to me, and from what I got to listen to, that was a great conversation of where we are today now. It's just a stark difference. And over time, this is the same way you saw, Jackie Robinson come in, and obviously where baseball changed, and it changed for the better.
Right. And it just feels like every time the NBA or the league elevated, it was on the back of an African American player. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that speaks volumes.
Yeah. Now, I will say, the one of the pure white guys that carried the league for a minute, that's a cold boy. That man, Larry Bird, is...
Oh, yeah. He liked that.
Oh, my goodness. Like, we're talking about the mullet, the mustache, the look at you, hit you dead in your eye, and then go have a six-pack of Budweiser. Larry Bird was the truth.
He was built different.
Yeah. And, like, you can't take nut. Like, it's scary. Like, Larry Bird used to dunk on dudes. Just... Like, where did this come from? And then as he got older, it just got craftier and craftier.
Yeah.
So.
But back on track.
Yes, back on track. Now, the reason why this episode was really created was an incident that happened about a week ago.
Yeah.
So, for a lot of our listeners, specific player, Jeremy Lin. Jeremy Lin is of Chinese and Taiwanese descent. Not as many Chinese players that we've had in the NBA. Yao Ming, the most successful. Mm-hmm. All 7'6" of him, first round pick, Hall of Famer now. Shout out Yao Ming. Jeremy Lin definitely created some of the most momentum you could ever have for an NBA career in terms of Linsanity.
Definitely.
Goes to New York and goes wild, 20-game stretch. Comes back.
Hold on now. He did his thing, Golden State.
He did. Okay, he did. But I mean,
it would be no New York without Golden State.
Okay. But when you get to that market and you put on in the Garden, you know it's a different feel.
Yeah.
And so him coming back the next year and really getting, he did his thing. He's had some memorable moments in the league. But obviously, as the game evolves, game changes, younger guys come in. Jeremy Lin struggled a little bit. So playing in the G League right now, in the G League bubble, and in the world we live in today, had an incident. It was reported that somebody on the court, we don't know, coach, player, whatever, decided to call him out of his name and call him coronavirus, which is completely not right.
Yeah.
Super inconsiderate. Just, the stigma to just call somebody the thing that we're battling that in our century is killing people has shut the world down. To call somebody that, to make them feel as where they come from is the reason why,
right,
is truly insensitive. So to whatever player, person that did that, I hope you look yourself in the mirror and realize like what you did, and that you should probably come out and apologize and face whatever consequence you get of that.
Yeah.
And I hope that player is already, or person was already disciplined.
I mean, it's definitely, it's ignorant, it's disrespectful, and it's just downright hurtful. On any day of the week, is that acceptable? And, my short stint in the Bay Area, Jimmy Lin's a cool dude. Real calm, real chill. As you can see from his statement, he wasn't throwing anybody under the bus, which speaks to his character.
Definitely.
Because he could have easily threw him under the bus and, whether he got fined or kicked out of the league, whatever it may be. But he kept it to himself. But I do appreciate the fact that he wasn't silent. He didn't snitch on anybody, but he wasn't silent, and he voiced how he felt. And it needed to be put out there.
Yeah, and I'm glad that I saw other players support, and tweet at him and let him know that having a platform is for everybody. And that was the main thing that obviously we talked about off air about wanting to talk about this, is that just because of what the world is going through and what people of color are going through, this is also everybody has a platform, because there's injustice everywhere, and it doesn't just come in the form of black people against white people.
Right.
We're all a humanity. We all have flaws, and everybody has an ill-advised moment. But at the same time, I think to keep those blunders down and keep moving forward and keep progressing, I think people of all races, ethnicities need to be able to speak out about whatever is going on in terms of the injustice that they face.
Definitely. Everyone has a voice. Everybody.
Definitely. And then another incident that we had in the NBA bubble, Luka, this one is one of our true faces in the NBA, along with him and Giannis of being our two probably best international players.
And he's not just saying that because he's from Dallas.
Yeah, or plays in Dallas, not from Dallas. But situation, Montrezl Harrell decided to, call him out of his name and tell him he was soft and he was white. And with other explicit words that we're not going to say on camera.
Yeah, it was a lot more to that, but
yeah, so Trez apologized. He came and showed Luka love.
Some things are done in the heat of the moment. When you're at war, you go into battle. But you got to be able to keep your composure.
Yeah. And so one of the things that you were excited for about the bubble was you could hear everybody in the mics.
You could hear everything.
So the mic is going to pick up everything, and doesn't matter, ESPN, TNT, ABC. You can't bleep out everything. Yeah. Can't catch everything, because I didn't know if the public, if y'all didn't know, NBA games run about 5 to 10 seconds, or it's aired 5 to 10 seconds, behind what we think is live. So if you're watching it, everybody else is going to see it on TV 5 to 10 seconds later. So it's kind of hard to catch every single to bleep it.
Yeah.
Especially when you're at the rim and the mics are on the rims. So every doing that you hear is going to be every, hey.
But at the same time, you got to have some integrity. Just because the mics pick up everything, you still got to have some integrity. And,
I know he
can't speak to people like that.
Definitely. And like you said, it was the heat of the moment thing. He's caring nothing about that. It's a playoff game. there's a lot on the line. But once again, insensitive. Trez knew what he did. He apologized.
Yeah.
Now, in that situation, guys like it was Paul Gasol who spoke up and was like, now, if he's offended by that, I've been called much worse that no one else picked up on the mic in my time in the NBA.
Yeah.
But Paul Gasol's a different type of dude. I mean, and you can see them Spanish guys, they think they the best. And I got to respect it because the amount of Spanish guys, one, that have made it to the NBA, the type of impact, Pau Gasol, Marc Gasol, Rudy Fernandez, Sergio, I mean, the Spanish players who come to the NBA have really balled and held their own.
Yeah.
So I think that doesn't bother guys like them because they're just like, guess what? You can say whatever you want to me. I'm still here.
Yeah.
I'm here to win a championship just like you are.
Yeah. I hate to say it because, people will be like, oh, you cutting him some slack because he's black. But is it on the same level? Well, I ask you, do you feel like it's on the same level as what was said to Jeremy Lin? Are they equivalent?
No, they're not equivalent because now you're not saying something in the heat of, like, it could have been in the same heat of the moment type of situation, but it's not even the same type of context. I mean, one, if you're trying to talk smack to somebody that's Asian American, I don't know what you could say to them. I mean, calling somebody chink eyes, I mean, that's rude and insensitive too, but I mean, I don't know how offended he would have been by that, but what was said, it's just, it's a thing that you can't say in 2021. There's always the one thing that's like the don't touch that button.
Yeah.
Like
you felt that in your heart.
Yeah.
Like you truly believe that.
Yeah, because we really don't know where and why and how this all started. We can speculate. You can say it's came from wherever. You can say it's 5G. We don't know.
Yeah.
We just know we're all affected by it. And it's put a lot of people in a lot of positions, and a lot of people have lost their lives because of it. So you have to leave that alone.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like if you was on the court and somebody call you N-word. Mm-hmm. You're going to want to fight somebody. Point
Especially
blank.
somebody of another color that's not of black descent says that.
Right.
And
you know how I feel about that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want people of my own color to call me that.
Yeah.
I find it disrespectful to our ancestors, but that's just me.
Yeah.
I mean, I might get, a little loose if a song comes on, but
yeah, I mean, you gonna be yourself.
Yeah, but anyways.
Yes.
It's just insensitive.
Definitely. So the other thing that obviously that we talked about, and I think is hopefully as important as these situations in terms of handling them, one, I think going forward, what's your thoughts on where should basketball head in terms of inclusion and international players and people and all those things? Like, where do you think that the game has to go next? Are we in a good spot?
I feel like we are in a good spot because, I mean, we've gone global as we saw with Jordan. And it's only expanded more since then with, the players, LeBron, Dwayne Wade's, and players of that caliber. So I feel like we are reaching out further than just within our country already. Gotcha. What else we can do, that's a conversation. Yeah,
and I say that because, having basketball conversations with people, I think there's some guys or just, maybe your average fan and some coaches that I think they feel a little bit of type of ways in terms of how many international players are some of the better players in the league. I think they feel like, maybe they get too much credit, or we shouldn't have to go get, or teams, NBA teams specifically, and or college teams shouldn't have to go get international players. They should recruit American players, and either whether black or white, or even mixed of whatever type of American. And I don't think that that's any bit right or fair, because that global, and I don't want to just say bringing a different culture, but something like, especially for somebody like a Luka Doncic, a Kristaps Porzingis, that international flair, it gives the NBA like a whole different type of feel.
Yeah.
Because it's just different. You get these young men that come in that you see them get drafted their first interview. They don't speak great English. To 20 years later, look at a Tony Parker and a Manu Ginobili. They're loved.
Yeah.
Like the game changed. Like Manu Ginobili essentially brought us the Euro step. Every 6-year-old wants the Euro step.
Yeah.
And without a Manu Ginobili that did it consistently every single night, we don't have that.
Exactly.
So when y'all see, he Euro'd the heck out of him, like that doesn't necessarily happen without somebody like him. So I mean, I just think it's great, and it's great seeing other people get an opportunity to play the game that we love, that we grew up playing, that maybe come here much later in life and pick it up at a rate that's even faster than we did. And I hope that continues to be motivation for young men and women in the States to know that just because you're battling against your peers here, there's other people across the world working, especially once you get to that higher level. And now basketball becomes an access point, for people not just in the States.
Yeah.
That are all trying to get 400 and 250 WNBA and NBA spots.
Yeah. I feel like it's, just like how I would tell you, if you're talented and you put in the work and your numbers can speak louder than anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, players that are overseas, that are in other countries, their numbers speak and people see them, and they wind up in the league. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know about that. Like, free agency period.
Mm-hmm.
Could you go get somebody overseas?
Yeah.
And bring them in?
You saw like with the guy that's with the Denver Nuggets, Campazzo.
Oh.
He voiced that he wanted to make a run in the NBA. He's played the last 4 seasons with Real Madrid. He played with UK America in Spain, and at this point, he's probably an 8-year professional at playing at a top league, and he's played with the Argentina national team, and he got his agent to contact teams, and it's just like anything else. His numbers in his film stood out, and they decided, okay, let's bring him in.
That was in the middle of the year, though?
No, it wasn't in the middle of the year.
That's what I'm saying. Have you ever seen that?
Yes.
Who?
Javonte Green, that plays with the Boston Celtics, was playing with Ulm in Germany, the same team that Killian Hayes got drafted from, the kid that got drafted 7th to the Detroit Pistons. He's playing well in Germany. I think they needed a spot. They released somebody, whatever. I believe they brought him over sometime after the All-Star break, and this is his first start of this year. Is the start of his first full year. They brought him over. The pandemic shut down. Went with them to the bubble. Stayed here. Played all this year with them.
Okay. Well, that eliminates my comment, because I was going to say that's something they could do. Mm-hmm. During the free agency period, look outside of, the G League or other
there's
teams.
definitely guys, I think especially some older veteran guys. And I don't think he's the first. I think there has been situations, maybe just not as recent that I remember, but I would say there's definitely veteran guys that are overseas that if they're in a position where they've been playing well overseas, I think an NBA team would say, okay, let's go ahead and sign him. And I think there are guys that sign contracts stating they have an NBA out.
Yeah.
So even before him, 2 or 3 years ago, Michael Beasley before he ended up coming to the Lakers, he was trying to get there the year before out of his CBA contract, and something happened. They decided to go a different direction. Yeah. But he had already kind of cleared his way through China, got out of the contract, ready to come play for an NBA team.
That's another American, though. I'm talking about reaching out to
an actual international player.
Right.
Okay. That is a little bit uncommon. I don't know exactly if that's ever happened.
Exactly.
I'm sure there probably has been somebody that was under contract with somebody overseas team, and they decided to bring them over. So, but I think that's something that we'll see in the future. I think because there's more than good enough players, as something I was not aware of, and you see it as a basketball player when you see guys internationally get drafted, but especially for me learning more about Europe and the Euro League. And obviously you got a chance, seeing Epe go through that and how talented the Fenerbahce team he was on for them to win Euro League, and that the fact once he did that, NBA teams were like, okay, come back.
Right.
Like, we want you, we value you. I had no idea how good some of these dudes were.
Yeah.
My roommate, who was from Greece, showed me some guys, and I just was blown away. And there are a couple of guys over there that's not even close that they would be starters and or type 6-man guys on some NBA teams.
That's what I'm saying. So you asked me what else we could do.
Oh, yeah. There's a Nando De Colo, and I want to say he's been over here before, possibly. He will give a lot of dudes work.
Yeah.
He's magical on the wing. Catch it, rip through, step back, pump fake, throw behind the back pass. And Ep can attest that he's seen him. And there are some very, very talented international players that could come over here, stop what they're doing, probably come get you 15 a game. And not blink an eye and not miss a beat.
I'm sure of it.
So
that's why I mentioned it.
All them international guys, you want a shot, come get it.
Yeah.
We welcome you. You're gonna get some fight back, but some chance.
So the moral of the story is watch what you say. Respect your teammates, respect your opponent.
Yeah.
I mean, you can kill them. Yeah. Not literally, but
when you get dunked on hard, dead body. Yeah, but definitely. I mean, that's the biggest thing is just respect the fact that we get to play the game we love.
Yeah,
because like I said, this whole podcast was created the fact that like it was taken away from it, and that was very scary. So just you got to respect the people that do what you do, because they wouldn't be at this point if they didn't put in the same amount of work you did.
Yeah, we may not be equal players, athletes, but we're equal human beings.
Definitely. And then the other moral story is basketball is global. So for all the young men and women that are here, if you don't scratch it in the NBA, WNBA, you can get paid a lot of money going over there.
Yeah.
Anybody ever listen that's, not from the States, you want that dream to be the next Luka Doncic, Dirk Nowitzki, it can happen. Do what you do over there. Somebody will notice. Somebody will give you a chance. That door is not closed.
Facts.
So, yes, sir.
Another one in the books.
Cultural NBA. Hey, man, we just try to give y'all these topics that are not just... Everybody here don't know who Dennis Schroeder is. They don't want to hear about that. They want to hear about the real.
That's right.
So, definitely let y'all know. But you already know. Get at your boy on Instagram. B_great. K.
Using that mic this time. Good job.
Yes, sir.
Get at your boy. Witness your moment. You are.
Yes, sir. Follow that Twitter. Follow that Instagram.
See the floor _
Website.
seethefloorpodcast.com.
Yeah, we have to let y'all know because that is the easiest way for y'all to get all of our content all in one place.
For sure.
Great job. You already know. Hey, like, comment, just share, subscribe, follow, word of mouth.
Hit that like button. Hit that bell for notifications.
Yes, sir. Until next time, y'all. We out.
See life like you see the floor.